We got some rather breaking news, Nate, and this is huge. So the Jacksonville Jaguars have fired four longtime staff members. So basically, they have fired Andy Dengler, who is the assistant director of player personnel, Chris Driggers, who is the director of pro personnel, Mark Ellenz, who is the director of college scouting, and Paul Roell, who is the assistant director of college scouting. They were fired Monday. The group has a combined 66 years of experience with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Driggers was one of six remaining staff members who joined the franchise in 1994. So yeah, basically these moves they were first reported by the Associated Press, and surprisingly, because of Coach Meyer's reorganization of the franchise, Meyer has expanded the coaching staff to 27, adding a chief of staff in Fernando Lobo and merged nutrition, strength and condition, and training into the sports performance department. Meyer previously he fired director of player health and performance Scott Trulock, and strength and conditioning coordinator Tom Maslinski, and hired Jeff Ferguson, director of athletic training, and Anthony Schlegel, head strength and conditioning coach. A little bit on the guys who were fired. Nate Dengler, he joined the Jacksonville Jaguars in 1998, and he spent the past 8 years as the assistant director of player personnel. Ellenz, he joined the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2013, and he had been a director of college scouting since 2016. Roell had joined the Jaguars in 2013, and he and Ellenz were hired by then general manager Dave Caldwell, who was fired in November. And Driggers started in the football operations department and then became the team salary cap administrator. And he joined the scouting department in 1998, and he was promoted to director of pro personnel in 2015. And last but not least, Alyssa Abbott, executive director of owner and president, Dan Edwards, senior vice president of Jacksonville Jaguars tradition and alumni, Mike Perkins, Senior Director of Football Technology and Special Projects, Brian Sexton, Senior Correspondent, and Tim Bishko, Director of Ticket Operations, are the remaining staff members who have been with the organization since 1994. Now, before I pass on to you, Nate, I just wanted to say that this article was written by Mike DeRocco, ESPN staff writer. So, you know what, Nate, you start first. Your thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars basically firing four longtime staff members and completely turning this whole franchise into a 360.
Well, first of all, whatever these guys do in the future, best of luck to them. What really surprises me, Mario, is for one thing, the Jacksonville Jaguars are not an old franchise. Them and the Carolina Panthers came into the league in the same year in 1995. So that's why, some of you guys may think that's old, which it is. They've been in the team basically since the start. A lot of these guys have been there from since day one, pretty
Well, the
much.
Jaguars were 1994, but yeah,
Oh
regardless.
no, well the Jaguars played their first inaugural. Them and the Panthers played their first inaugural season in '95, but they were introduced a couple years before. Just like how you
Okay.
see these other, the Texans. Every team basically has to do that, before they play their inaugural season because they had to pay. They have to, we just talked about it with the Seattle Kraken. They have to pay expansion taxes and all that. They have to find a location. They have to build a stadium if necessary. It's a whole process, so that's why it takes a few years. Then they have to hire people and things like that. So the fact that they firing guys from day one, it's pretty crazy. But it goes to show you that Urban Meyer really wants this team to succeed. You got your franchise quarterback. This team hasn't been anything special at all, pretty much. They haven't even been to a Super Bowl before. Their other team that came into the league in the same damn year, the Carolina Panthers, already went to two of them. Get on my damn level. Now,
Hey, look, let's give the Jaguars a little bit. Let's give the Jaguars a little bit of credit.
yeah,
They're
we'll,
they're
we'll give them
tiny,
credit.
tiny. They got
We'll give them.
tiny success. They got tiny success of beating like John Elway way back when, and they got tiny success of like reaching the AFC Championship before
Yeah,
losing to go. So let's give them a little credit.
yeah, we'll
Not a
give them
lot, just
credit.
a
And
little
they
tiny.
beat Dan Marino, and they beat Dan Marino 60-7, 62-7. So we'll give them some kind of credit.
Let's give
We'll
them a
give them credit.
tiny bit of credit, like
Yeah,
that right there. Like a
yeah.
nice little shot.
But look, Urban Meyer is doing, like you said, a complete 360 with the team. You got your franchise quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. You got one of the greatest. You got, well, actually, no, the greatest college coach of all. No, one of the greatest, I should say, in Urban Meyer. Now coaching in the NFL. You got his personnel coming in. He really wants his team to succeed. And you know what? As long as he hires the right people and as long as they do their job correctly, I could see his team succeeding. I really can. So with that being said, there's not really much for me to say. Best of luck to Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars. To everybody that was fired, best of luck to them moving forward. And I'll pass on to you, Mario.
Right. Best of luck to everybody who was fired, and best of luck to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let me tell you something, Nate. This reminds me of when uh, of when Jerry Jones came into the Dallas Cowboys organization and just fired everyone. He just said, "You go on, you go on." He even fired Hall of Fame coach Tom Landry. He said, "You out of here." And he ended up bringing more people in, and he ended up creating a dynasty. The Jacksonville Jaguars can do that, Nate, and they're on the right path to do it. Am I going to say they're going to win the Super Bowl this year? Definitely not. They're not going to do it with a rookie quarterback and a rookie running back and a completely new built team, but they do have good pieces. They have Trevor Lawrence. They have Travis Etienne. They have James Robinson. They have DJ Chark. They have Jack O'Shaughnessy. They have Shaquille Griffin. They got these types of guys. They did very good in the NFL draft. So the Jacksonville Jaguars can definitely turn their history around, and they can turn themselves into being a franchise team. Now, the most recent success that they had was in 2016, where they went to the AFC Championship and they lost to Tom Brady, but they put up a good fight. At that point, you also got to remember they had a very stacked defense, and the offense was decent itself too. It wasn't as good as the defense, but the offense was decent. You know, I feel like the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting back to that again. And not only that, Nate, in a few years, if they make the right moves, which I think Urban Meyer will allow them to do, if they make the right moves, I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars can have even more success than what they did at that point. Because remember that offense was decent. They had Leonard Fournette, who was very very good, but Blake Bortles was their quarterback. Now you have Trevor Lawrence, and if Trevor Lawrence can play as good as he did in college, or he can show that type of promise, then you're off to a great start. You really are. James Robinson and Travis Etienne, the future is looking very bright for those two. I can definitely see those two turning into not play style wise, but like impact wise, Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara when they were in New Orleans, when they had that duo going on. So it's not a far stretch to say that the Jacksonville Jaguars can do these types of things. Urban Meyer, great college head coach. I love Urban Meyer, and I think Urban Meyer is going to do just fine in the NFL. Why? Because him, compared to all the other college coaches that came into the NFL, he's actually making change. Okay, no diss on Nick Saban. When Nick Saban went to I believe the Cleveland Browns, he didn't say take this office and get rid of these guys or whatever. He didn't do that. He didn't encourage that. He just decided to go coach the team with what he had. Sometimes, as good as a coach as you are, you can't coach. Sometimes that office behind you is much more powerful. And sometimes that kind of stops you from creating the team that you want. But Urban Meyer knows that, and he has been making changes since he got there. So honestly, Nate, I think that the future for the Jacksonville Jaguars is looking very, very bright. I think it really is. Give it probably like a good 3, 4 years if they make the right moves. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm going to be honest, could be a Super Bowl contender. Okay, and you can come back to this in 3 years, but I mean it. All right. If Urban Meyer lives up to the coaching hype that we expect him to be, if Trevor Lawrence lives up to the quarterback hype that we expect him to be, if Travis Etienne lives up to the running back hype that we expect him to be, if James Robinson continues what he's been doing, if Shaquille Griffin continues having a Pro Bowl season, if the other guys in the Jacksonville Jaguars, such as DJ Chark and O'Shaughnessy, if they end up doing what they did last year, this could be a very successful team, Nate. But again, it's up to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have everything they need. They have everything set in front of them. From here on out, they just have to make the right choices. So with that being said, I do wish the Jacksonville Jaguars the best of luck. Again, the future is looking very bright for them, and it is a very young future.